the dark room, you face yourself, you realize you want to be better, you realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Social media is a great platform to tell you who we want to be, not who we are. So that's where that dark room is.
Stay hard mode is for the savage few who turn pain into power, fight their demons in silence, and rise through ruthless self-discipline when the world expects them to fold.
So a lot of people can live with themselves. That's the first thing. A lot of people can live with themselves, look in the mirror and say, I'm okay with being afraid. I'm okay with going on this easy highway over here. The easy highway has all these signs and shit, directions, how to get somewhere. And you have to first be uncomfortable with how you feel about yourself. With that voice that a lot of us like to run away from, we all have it. We all have that voice that say, hey man, you know, you're kind of wimping out right now. You're kind of being a little punk right now. But a lot of us say, okay, that's okay. It's okay to tell these little white lies to ourselves. So we first have to face the real you. The real me is David Goggins. The real me is a guy looking at you right now saying, I don't want to be on this show right now because I used to stutter as a kid. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that here in a second, I'm going to start fucking stammering and stuttering and the whole world's going to know that I have all these issues. But that's when I see right now, okay, Goggins, you got to go on the show. That's Goggins. Goggins is saying, okay, David Goggins, you're a punk. Life made you this way. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. That's Goggins. Goggins saying, all of you who don't like me, who don't want to, and that person then comes in. But you have to be David Goggins and say, man, I'm afraid of this, up here. Life made me this way here. I stutter. I have these issues with reading and writing, and I'm fat and I'm insecure. You have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face who you are. That's the only way you're going to get over all those things. You have to create someone else. Not like you have two different personalities. It is you. But you have to find strength. And that visualization of almost me cracking out Goggins, like almost like that Superman cape, like I'm coming out a different person, a person that doesn't give a fuck about anything, who doesn't care about being judged, who knows I'm weak, who knows I'm afraid, who says, whatever you think about me, take it, whatever, I'm here. That's Goggins. Oh, I'm not going back. And I went back. I'm not going back, and I went back. I'm not going back, and I went back. It showed me even more of what we have as humans, if we're willing to go there and we're willing to push that extra step. And like I say, you know, I always tell people, a lot of people, man, how do you do what you do? And at the end of the day, I ask myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take two steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that.
This is the darkest era in human history. You are surrounded by dopamine, distractions, and weakness disguised as pleasure. They hand out likes and claps for doing nothing. You're being trained to stay soft, stay small, stay obedient. But you didn't come here to be average. You came to dominate. This world, it doesn't care how you feel. It respects results, and results are born in pain. You don't get strong from comfort. You get complacent. You don't rise by chance. You rise through war. You either become a weapon or get broken by life. There's no middle ground. You think the universe owes you something. It doesn't owe you peace. It gives you pressure. And you either crack or you become forged. Greatness isn't given. It's bled for. It's earned in the hours no one sees. When you're tired, alone, broken, but you still grind. That's the difference. That's what separates the lions from the lambs.
That's how they failed in that one moment. And they can't even enjoy their life now because they're now warm. Because now I realize that in that 1 second. I go through all that. I know how it's gonna feel because I failed so many times before. Failure is the ultimate thing, man. I failed so many times before. And that's why I don't look at failure anymore as failure. I look at it as my first, second, and third attempt. So that's what that's all about, man. So the first thing about it is, once you realize it, and you have to realize it, you gotta call yourself out. Addressing it is very small. It doesn't go from like one morning this way, next morning I wake up and presto, 5 steps to greatness. No, it ain't that, brother. You read my book, this is hard work. It's every day, like right now. I had to be honest with you, man. I'm even shaking right now, being on this, in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat, I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. The things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. And you're all by yourself. I had tons of sticky notes all over my mirror. It wasn't like, be better than John or be as fast as whoever. Okay, David, yesterday you did this. Today, our next goal for the week is this. So I had a year goal, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals, and the big goal was I lied a lot growing up. I wanted to be accepted. One goal was, let's go one day without lying. Let's go one day, and then when I would lie to somebody, I would say, hey man, now I had to go back now and apologize, say, hey man, I lied to you. You know how hard it is to go back to somebody and say, I lied to you? Hey man, you know what? Back there, I lied to you, dude. I was really jacked up. So I figured out these ways of total accountability. Like right now, I had to run this morning before I talked to you, because why? That's what I'm about. I'm about mind, body, fitness. A lot of folks talk so much shit about, hey, I'm gonna change your life. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth about who you are. And when you can get on and tell someone, like I'm doing right now, exactly what you are, that's the goal in life. To put your life on a billboard, on the busiest road, in the busiest highway in the world, and say, this is how I used to be. Take it or leave it. It's the worst pain I can't even describe the pain of that last 30 miles to anybody. No one, it's very hard.
Whole body?
Whole body. So when it ended, I'm literally dizzy going up my stairs to get to my house. I have my arms wrapped around her, going up the stairs, and every flight of stairs I have to lay down because I can't stay upright for too long or I'm gonna pass out. So I finally get in the house, and when I get in the house, I'm once again on the floor. I'm in the kitchen on the floor, just laying there. I finally make it to the bathroom, into the tub. I get rolled in the tub, and she puts the water on me. I'm just laying there with the water coming on me. And what I pee out looks like Coca-Cola. And I'm laying there in the worst pain of my entire life. I'm shaking, I'm jacked up. And all I could think about was, I can't believe what I just done. Because when you get to 70 miles of a race and you felt the way I did, to me, it was humanly impossible to even think about going 30 more miles in that shape. And once you do it, what came over me when that shower hit me and the reality hit that.
This era isn't your excuse, it's your weapon. While weak men cry about how hard everything is, you should be salivating. This chaos, this uncertainty, this pressure dash cookers of a world, it's the perfect fucking environment to create a god. While they scroll, you suffer. While they seek comfort, you build calluses on your mind, on your soul. This world is soft. It hands out applause for mediocrity. It numbs people with likes, dopamine, and easy pleasure. You don't rise by accident. You rise through war. War with yourself. War with your thoughts. War with every weak habit trying to drag you back to average. God, stay locked in. Stay savage. Use every ounce of darkness as fuel. Turn your loneliness into focus. Turn your rejection into rage. Turn your pain into power. You are the anomaly. You are the machine they can't comprehend. So don't explain. Execute. Don't post. Produce. Don't whine. Win. This era was made for the ruthless, for the disciplined, for the dangerous. So don't you dare slow down. Don't soften. Don't seek comfort. Stay hard. Stay wild. Stay unbreakable.
About people talking shit. And it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing, because I know why you hate me. You hate me because you're probably in the bed right now. You're probably an underachiever. You're probably somebody who doesn't want to do anything with your life. So I make you question everything about yourself. So I'm going to continue making you question yourself by coming out here and being even more successful. So I listen to that while I run. I sometimes played in the house about me, and she's like, why do you do this shit? It's half comical and it's half inspiring. I'm actually inspired by it. I've learned to study people before I react, because there's no successful person in the world who's in a good headspace that's going to ever attack anyone in that kind of manner. There's always going to be something wrong with them. So you got to always dive a little deeper before you get your feelings hurt. Before you get your feelings hurt by that bully at school or that boss at work, take time. Take that 1 second to pull back and study them. Because most people who are in good places, they don't care about what you're doing. They don't care about what you're doing. They don't try to destroy you. They actually will try to build you up versus destroy who you are as a person. So that's where I'm at now in life, is most people who do that, they're in a very dark, dark place. You're not the smartest person in school. I had that issue. So my big thing was how I addressed that problem was I had to sit down. Each thing that is wrong with you has to be a focal point. You can't look at this gigantic list and say, I gotta change all this shit. My God, this is crazy. No. You take off the first one, I wanna be smarter. For me, that was my thing. I have to become more intelligent. I have such a severe learning disability, man, I can't retain shit. I had to now get that one thing and then strategize in that one problem. How can I do this? I'm not gonna learn like you. I'm not gonna learn like anybody else. How am I gonna figure this out? So I then figured out, okay, where are my strengths here? Where are my weaknesses in learning? All right, man, how am I gonna do this? And I figured out a way to do it by just strategizing. So how I learn to this day, if I have a big manual to study, I will have to get a bunch of spiral notebooks from the daggone store. And each page, I have to write each page out, maybe 10 times. So there was a 1,000-page dive manual that I got 18 months before I went to dive school. Most people, I'm not smart, I'm gonna go see if I can pass this test. I realized, hang on a second, I'm not smart. How can I get past this? How can I get through this obstacle? I need to acquire this book 18 months in advance, because it could take me 18 months to write down each page over and over again to then put it to memory. So when the question came up, I had written that question so many times down on paper that I can recall, okay, page 71 was where I remember seeing this, and I can recall it that way. And that's how I did it. So you gotta strategize on each problem you have in life. Slowly break down that problem. Don't think about all the problems you have, just one at a time. And before you know it, you fix all these problems, but you cannot focus on all of them, just on the one thing at a time.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. And that's the thing about that I was telling you, that I always talk about, is nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little spark, you can burn a whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to learn to be, you have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that shit. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. Because I'm not going to always be motivated.
Mediocrity is a slow death. Distraction is the devil's playground. And weakness is a betrayal of everything you could become. The world will tempt you to rest, to scroll, to numb yourself. But every second wasted is another step toward regret. And regret is a coffin you build with your own weakness. Wake up. No more pity. No more whining. No more soft talk. This is a call to arms. Kill distraction. Choke excuses. Move with rage and precision. Embrace the darkness, because in the dark, the real you is waiting. The version of you that doesn't compromise. Anyone takes what's. The question is, will you let your version out, or will you die soft, lie high? The choice is yours.
I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after-school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great, but there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one where you are constantly, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of shit kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, Mucker. So whenever you think you can't, confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You've been able to go on an audiobook in your mind. Maybe you didn't write a book, but in your mind, you were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the second mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this shit is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself. That's the main purpose for me right now.
This world doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care how tired you are, how hard your day was, or how unfair life has been. The world only respects one thing: strength. Who are you when no one's watching? Who are you when it's dark, cold, and no one's clapping? That's the real test. Because greatness isn't found in comfort. It's forged in chaos, in pain, in isolation. You don't rise by accident. You rise through war. You want greatness? Who are you? Stop being soft. No one's coming. You either become a weapon or get broken by life. Greatness isn't given. It's bled for. Comfort is your enemy. Pain is your ally. Suffer with purpose. Turn dark energy into fuel. This isn't a game. This is war. Forge your own greatness. Stay hard.
I believe that most human beings are only living at about 40% of their capability. So the mind has a governor, like a car. If you're driving a car and the car has a governor on it, the car may say 130 miles an hour, but the governor is set for 91. Once that governor sets in, you get to 91, that car starts doing this. The car wants to go. The car wants to go. The factory said, we're not going past 91. We have a factory, a nice governor in our brain, and it's a survival mechanism. It protects us from pain and suffering. The second we feel that shit, our mind says, oh no, this isn't fun. We should back off. We should sit down, find something more comfortable. And there's something about the mind. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. The mind controls everything. So what I realized was that when I was growing up and I was 300 pounds and I got all fat and I got all insecure, I realized that my mind kept taking me in this direction. When things got uncomfortable for me, when I was facing my insecurities, I was facing my fears, my mind said, oh no, we have the tactical advantage. We need to get you, separate you from this feeling over here. Life's all about feelings. We want the happy feeling. We don't want that feeling of this sucks. Why am I here? And you don't have any, so you can't answer those questions, so you leave. I started realizing that if in that moment you can answer those up questions and you are now in charge of your brain versus your brain ruling you, that's where all that stuff comes from. So the 40% rule is all of that. You get to 40%, your brain says, we're done. Let's roll, man. This is starting to get painful. This is uncomfortable. So you sit down. You have to figure out ways, and everybody's different. That's how the book kind of talks about, like we all have these things about, 5 steps to this and 4 steps to this. It's a lot more than that. That's all bullshit. It's a practice that you have to, it's a habit. So if you know that at 40%, I'm feeling pain. At 40% I'm feeling pain. That's where the 40% rule kicks in. Now it starts. Okay, I'm feeling pain. My mind's saying all this shit to me. It's saying, get out of here, run, flee. The fight or flight kicks in. Okay, we're done, we're not good enough. It starts telling you all these things. You start to believe it because the mind controls all. This is the time where you have to gain control back of your mind. It's okay, let me see if I can go 45%. And then once you start giving yourself more and more hope and start realizing, okay, the mind starts to be, okay, what are you doing? We're supposed to be going right and you're going left. You start then controlling your mind. Start finding more in yourself, and then it goes from 40% to a lot further than that. But that's the start of it though. Get to the spot where your mind is saying stop. Whatever that is, you gotta get there first, and then that's when that shit starts to work for you. You gotta control yourself in that moment. It's one of the biggest things in the world. A lot of us, mediocrity is everywhere right now, and we're all trying to find an easy way out, and we're judging ourselves. Let's say there's 10 people in this room, and we're all mediocre. But I'm the best of the mediocre people. I now think I'm great. I'm great. We surround ourselves around people that make us feel great. They tell us what we want to hear. The second we put ourselves amongst the uncommon people, we don't like that feeling, that challenging feeling of that person who's waking up at 3:30 in the morning and say, hey, put your shit on, we're going for a run. We don't like that challenge. We like that person who says, hey, you know what, man, I don't feel good today, man. And they say, oh, it's okay, brother. Take a day off, man, we get a pizza and shit, watch the game. We like that. We love that feeling. Why? Because you understand, man, we're good, bro. We don't want fuckers like this. Hey, man, no, bro, get your on, man. Stop being a punk. We don't want that in our lives. We don't want that person who's constantly challenging our weaknesses. We want that person who's constantly, making us feel nice and good and secure in ours. That's the mediocrity of life. We want to be the best amongst the average people. People wonder, how do you stay hungry all the time? Because after I accomplish something, I don't sit back like a lot of guys who graduate buds, graduate this, graduate that. They get comfortable. They wonder why I'm getting weak, man. I don't know, I lost my edge. What's going on? Because once you hit the top of the mountain, guess what happened? I'm good. I'm good, so you wonder why you're falling down now. Because once you reach the top of the mountain, you got to build another one. That's mediocrity. There's a lot of people in mediocrity who have a nice resume, but they're one-timers, man. They hit They hit a one-time deal, they busted it open, got a lot of money, but they're good. You're mediocre now, man. What are you doing today, tomorrow, the next day? That's why I'm listening to theorists. I don't listen to all that bullshit. I listen to fuck who's like this, man. What's wrong, man? I'm tired, dude. Why are you tired? Because tomorrow, I gotta do looking shit again, man. Whatever the shit is that made me fucking nauseous and sick to my stomach, it made me hurt. There's no ending. And that's the person I listen to. That's the person who's gained knowledge. You gain knowledge through suffering. And on the other end of suffering is a world that very few have ever seen. It's a beautiful world because that's where you find yourself. You don't find yourself in over here. You find yourself on the other end. Like the 100-mile race I was on, I ran it for 24 hours. I found myself on the other end of that fucking race. That 19 hours, I found, wow, there's a whole nother world out here that I've never even saw, but the world's in your mind. And that's what all that mediocrity is about. Mediocrity is contagious. So in my book, I talk about it a lot. It was my junior year in high school, and I fell back a lot. I fell back in this hole of life. The second you think that you've overcome it and you climbed Everest, you're on that last hold, and life will say, not today, and it'll push you down. And my junior year in high school, I missed a whole bunch of school, was lying to my mom, had like a 1 point something GPA. I was just jacked up. I mean, I was in one of the worst spots in my life. And my mom was going through a lot of shit too, and she didn't have time to sit back and baby me. And it was me against me. My pants were down to my knees. I was not, whatever was going on, I was in bad shape. So I went to the bathroom and I had this weird haircut because I wanted attention. I was an attention getter. I went to an all-white school pretty much. Some of the kids liked me, a lot of them didn't like me, whatever, it didn't matter. I was looking for something, so I would dress differently, crazy haircuts, and I went to the mirror and the reflection in it revealed a lot of bad things. A lot of things that I was hiding behind the saggy pants. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror going like, God, dog, dude, you are something else, man. Like, you have created a character. I want to be at the cool guy table, and whatever I could do to get attention, I did. It wasn't me. It wasn't who I was inside, but I was scared for anybody to know who I was inside. So in that accountability mirror, I call it, I got real with myself. I said, you have a third grade reading level, which is hard to admit when you're a junior in high school that you copied on every single thing you did because of fear they're gonna put me in a special school. We all know what special means. I'm gonna have a title on myself the rest of my life. And being cool, you don't have a title on yourself. So I started cheating. I was dumb. And people say, oh, you know, you have learning disability. I had a learning disability, but I realized I was lazy. So I called myself out there. I called myself out every which way possible. I didn't call myself out, I was just honest. I was honest. Look at yourself, man. Look at yourself. And it was that day, and a couple other days after that, I just got real with myself. And every day I came home, I called the accountability mirror. What am I gonna do today to change what I see in this mirror? What am I gonna do today? And a lot of it was, I stopped sitting with the cool guys. I actually tucked my shirt in and went to school looking like, hey man, this is how I'm gonna look. If you don't like it, so be it. I had to really wear this layer of skin. I had to develop a really calloused skin on me to take whatever you're gonna call me, you're gonna call me. Whatever I'm gonna be, you know, I wasn't a geek, but whoever I am, you're gonna see me. You're gonna see me for who I am, because I need to change who I'm not. And that accountability mirror just became raw. And when I became fat over the years, because I fell back in the hole, I called myself fat, because I was fat. And people don't want to do that. They want to say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real and raw with who you are, nothing's gonna change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we want to hear, you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. And it's okay to hear that from yourself and from everybody else. So that's where it started at. And it's raw. It gets ugly sometimes with me in that mirror, but I'm also proud of myself to be able to tell myself that and then fix what's in that mirror.
This is the age of weakness, where distractions are rewarded, where comfort is worshipped, where men and women trade their power for likes, for validation, for temporary highs. You were born for war, not against others, against yourself, against your laziness, against your excuses, against the pathetic, comfort-addicted weakling staring back at you in the mirror. But here's the truth you've been running from. Your darkness isn't your enemy, it's your fuel. Pathetic.
When you really sit back at your life and you're in that dark room and you're looking at where you started from and you tell yourself, God, dog, man, my mom is this way, my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered, my dad beat the shit out of me, I can't read and write, I've lied about it to everybody, I've cheated on all these tests. My God, man. And then you put a goal in your mind. How are you gonna feel, man, when you accomplish this goal coming from that shit? Coming from the fucking hell you came from. A lot of people start from a good starting point. They have a good foundation. What if you can surpass all of these? What if everybody who was way up here started up here, and you started with no legs. You had to grow fucking legs to even start walking, and then crawling, and then running. And then you start passing people with all this given to them. I had to use all this negative shit that was making me weak and horrible as a person. I had to use this as the power that now fueled me. I had to flip it on its head and say, hold up. This might be exactly what I need. The darkness is exactly what I need. It's how you look at your situation. And I was looking at it up. There's a lot of power in that list. So in that list of who you are, what makes you, all these other things, it goes back to, once again, accepting. You have to first accept it before you can fix it. A lot of people walk around, oh man, I'm good. I'm good. No, you're not. You have to accept what you're not. You have to, and people don't want to do that. That's the only way you can fix it. You have to accept it first before you can go on the journey. A lot of folks never even start the journey, man. They never start the journey because they live in this fake life that who they want to be, they act like they are, but they're not because they haven't fixed all this stuff yet. You got to fix this first before we can start our journey in life. So that's why I have them make this list. You fix these problems, now your journey can begin because you no longer care about how people are judging you. When you care more about how someone's judging you, you're going to stay right there. There's no forward momentum. So that's the whole thing about that list.
Nice.
Not getting civilized is about having a savage mentality. Civilized is something where people, it's a comfortable world. A lot of us say, like for instance, I see these athletes right now who retire, I'm 38, I'm 39, I did 20 years at the top of my game, and I'm chilling out now. You see them a year later and how they look. What the hell just happened to you, dude? What the hell? You're one of the greatest athletes of all time. Kids looked up to you. Women, men of all ages looked up to you. And they hit the pinnacle where it's time to retire, and their mind says, whew, I'm civilized. The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. It's that total accountability. Like even when you retire, there's a motherfucker looking at me and judging me right now, man. I was the baddest person to ever live. It doesn't go away, man. You gotta wake up, even though you retired, you never retired. You're setting the example every single day of your life. And being civilized feels so good. I'm sorry, man. Once you get to the top, you may retire, but you ain't never coming back home, man. 'Cause now you're judged. People see you falling off. You wanna be that guy who knows I may be retired from the sport or forever I did, but I'll be damned if you ever see me looking like shit, feeling like shit, not arriving. People, I've arrived. I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that. They need that. It's a yearning feeling. I want it too. People love putting a label on me about, my God, man, you're just wired different. I'm wired different, dude. I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I gotta wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. I gotta leave this interview and go stretch out for 2.5 hours. I hate that shit. But guess what it does though? I'm constantly callousing over my victim's mentality that I once had growing up. Every day you have to do this shit. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun, you're not gonna be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly owe that mother machine. The machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day. How do I do it? How am I able to do what I do on a daily basis? You know, how do I fight the demons? Because they hear me speak and I'm very raw and real. How do you fight my insecurities, all these things? And they're there every day. They're there every day. Like you said, I'm in the search for a feeling. I'm not in the search for a trophy. I'm not in search for love. I'm not in search for more followers on Instagram or social media. When I started this journey years ago, and I realized that I'm going to be somebody, and I'm searching for a feeling of true victory for myself, and only myself. The second I shut out the whole world and realized that one thing, that I am in this world alone. I'm fighting this race by myself. Yeah, I'm all about people, I'm all about team, I'm all about that shit, but I'm really all about right now and in my life, just like you said, no one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know. I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life, and I love that about me. That right there is my fuel, is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game. That's what the mentality is all about. My whole thing is a mentality thing. Like I told you the last time I was on the show, I viewed myself as the weakest person on the planet Earth. My goal in life was to, in my mind, believe I'm the hardest man alive. And that's why the whole thing is can't hurt me. That's what it's about. It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. What kind of stupid shit is that, 300 pounds? There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that shit. You gotta dive deep into that shit. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And you know, that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable.